were on the defensive, fighting tooth and nail to get re-elected. The FNM gained more seats in New Providence than the PLP.
Well,
is it ingratitude, or were you deluding yourself?
Well, I wouldn't describe it as either. I just say it is what it is. That's, all, that's all I can say. Is the election turned out the way it is. Look, when we came to office, and you know, I study elections all around the world. One of the things I indicated was to our colleagues was that the Indian elections, which led to the present Congress Party being in government today. The curious thing about that was the same thing. The Indian government then thought that having a great economy with fantastic growth, with low unemployment, with the economy going great guns, was enough, that people would see for themselves how things were going. But it turned out that the Congress Party, in their analysis, was able to connect with those people at the bottom rungs of Indian society that felt that they were left out of the equation. Now, we look at our policies and we say, obviously, in the result of the election, there was some kind of disconnect. What that is, we're not certain, but I'm saying that I would avoid going into that territory here. What I think is we did a good job. We tried to put forward the best programs that we could, and in the result, the electorate did what it did. And I leave the rest for the historians and the psephologists.
Mr. Mitchell, you talk about a disconnect. Wendell and I have found that during our interviews with former Progressive Liberal Party ministers, we came across instances where we were hearing initiatives for the first time. And the classic example of that was the work which was done by Mr. Alfred Sayers in education, the number of classrooms which he had built. But in the election campaign, the Free National Movement used the argument that the government didn't build any schools, right? Yeah. The point I'm making is that there are numerous instances where your public relations was bad, right? And a classic example tonight, this Operation Second Chance. The first time I heard about Operation Second Chance was in your podcast. Why was the PLP so irresponsible in its public relations?
But the thing is, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
We don't know.
Well, the point is, I could point out chapter and verse, right, where all of this stuff was said before. What I do know is that if you are PLP, present company accepted, right, that you got problems getting your message out in this place. Not one single instrument in this country, right, present company accepted, it has any interest in what the PLP actually did. What they're interested in is jumping up and down on the PLP. That's what they're interested in. In a particular instance, one of the newspaper, or friends of those associated with the newspaper, actually put money into the campaign against me in Fox Hill. There's no independent media that's interested in the truth. What they want is a good story, spinning nonsense. So I can tell you time and time again where ministers of the government have said this and that. Agree you can have criticisms about how you present messages, because I find it really remarkable that the man who's now prime minister could actually use trust. I mean, this fellow really has a nerve, and the Bahamian public accepts that.
But you say that you blame a media minister. I beg your pardon.
No, I'm not blaming him. No, I'm not blaming him. I'm saying what is.
Well, Mr. Mitchell.
I'm saying what is.
Yeah, Mr. Mitchell.
I'm not blaming him.
Mr. Mitchell, your government had the control of ZNS. It had the control of Bahamas Information Services.
No.
And yet there are some things that the public got to know at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, control.
Are you saying that BIS failed and the National Broadcasting System, ZNS, did not know these things as well?
No, all the media knew these things. All the media knew these things. And I'm not going to go at BIS or ZNS, and it's not a question of controlling. You know, that's not the role.
You didn't have control?
No, well, it's a public broadcasting system.
Yes, but a minister of the government was responsible for
it.
So
on.
you
had
the
a minister of
control.
Government can't reach into the newsroom and say, do this and do that. No, do that. You know, it's a public system. Owned by the people of the country.
Yes,
right.
but if your minister knew that you were doing a poor job in public relations or your message was not getting out, I'm sure, Mr. Mitchell, that he had the wherewithal to make some things happen at ZNS, because the PLP government made some things happen at ZNS over the last 5 years.
Well, first of all, as I say again, ministers don't reach into newsrooms and tell people what to do. What I'm saying is that the information was there. I take all the criticisms that you say about the way the message was packaged and all the rest of it and the information putting out, but I can point to you chapter and verse where these things were done and said. You know, it's a question of, you know, when people listen and when they want to listen and when they want to, you know. So again, this may seem trite, but what is. And I am now on this track, which I've been for 15 years, of saying we have to develop our independent means of getting to the public.
Yeah, but if I am a stalwart, not a stalwart, I take that back. If I am an ordinary supporter of the Progressive Liberal Party, and I'm listening to Mr. Mitchell on the platform tonight, and all you have to say to me is what is. I deserve better than that, Mr. Mitchell.
No.
I deserve better than that as a PLP supporter for an explanation as to why you have PLP supporters in the position that they're in tonight.
No,
because you must take full responsibility.
No question. That's okay. That's what I'm saying, is that the result is what it is. I'm saying, and it will not profit me any to engage in public ruminations with you over what happened, what didn't happen, you know, putting me opposite this one, putting me opposite the next one.
But how would the average PLP supporter know what happened, what you believe happened?
No, PLP supporters are all engaged with their leaders and constituencies talking about what happened during the election.
Oh, so you're going house to house and telling them?
House to house. Last evening I had my own branch meeting. We had a huge crowd as branch meetings go. We had elections. People are gearing up to go. And you keep people informed. The fact is, why should we engage in a process now which would come off as recriminations and trying to repudiate your own legacy, engaging in a public argument over that? I'm not going to do that. I'm saying the results are what they are. We did the best job that we could. We are going to look at and analyze what happens, and at the appropriate time, there'll be new measures, new opportunities. Thank you to the people for those who supported us, and we rebuild from there.
So when your supporters say to you that perhaps the party should have gotten rid of some of the people who were offensive in the last 5 years, what would be your response?
No, you listen to what everybody has to say. You have to listen. That's what politicians do. They've got to listen, and you've got to internalize what everybody has to say. I walk around everywhere in this community. You know, I always remember the previous George Bush, who got into problems in his campaign when he didn't know what a scanner was, because he hadn't been in a supermarket and didn't realize they had scanners in supermarkets. And I took that lesson, and I always went to the supermarket for myself, right? Because you want to hear what people